Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to celebrate that most American holiday, Thanksgiving. Hey everyone, I'm Rich Lowry of National Review, and we're all probably familiar with this famous Jenny Bronscombe painting from 1914 depicting the first Thanksgiving. All right, so that painting is not entirely accurate, a little overly idealized. There wasn't a big butterball turkey in the middle of the table the way that painting depicts, but it gets a lot right. There was really a feast with the Pilgrims who had survived that brutal first winter after coming off the Mayflower voyage with the local Indians in 1621. Now, what they ate, a lot different than us, a lot of seafood, a lot of venison, but one witness does say that men were sent out to go fowling. So it's quite likely birds were in some form on the table. Now, this was a harvest feast rather than a day of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving at that time would have been given over to fasting and supplications to God. But you got in New England very quickly, general days of Thanksgiving, and it's from that mix that you get what we know now as Thanksgiving. So this is indeed a very old holiday. In 1778, the Continental Congress designated December 30th, quote, to be observed as a day of public thanksgiving and praise, that all the people may, with united hearts on that day, express a just sense of his unmerited favors. Then in 1789, George Washington issues the first presidential Thanksgiving proclamation, urging gratitude, among other things, quote, for the signal and manifold mercies and the favorable interpositions of his providence, which we experienced in the course and conclusion of the late war. He means the revolution, of course, for the great degree of tranquility, union, and plenty which we have since enjoyed. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln issues a Thanksgiving proclamation, designates the day as the last Thursday in November, and every president has done the same since, with some variation on the exact day in November. Even the association with football goes way back to a Princeton-Yale game in 1873, played in New York City, that became a big tradition in New York. The holiday is associated in the American imagination and, in fact, with the ingathering of family and with warmth and plenty. The widely reproduced George Jury painting from 1863, Home to Thanksgiving, depicts a couple returning to a snow-covered farm for the holiday and getting greeted by an older couple at the door of the house, welcoming them back to hearth and home. 80 years later, Norman Rockwell basically moved the Dury scene indoors. An elderly couple serves a big, juicy bird to a beaming family. By the way, Rockwell used as a model a real turkey that was actually eaten on Thanksgiving Day. For most Americans, the day functions as the great 19th century promoter of the holiday, Sarah Josepha Hale, wanted it to. Such social rejoicing, she wrote way back in 1857, tend greatly to expand the generous feelings of our nature and strengthen the bond of union that finds us brothers and sisters in that true sympathy of American patriotism. In short, as long as there's been an America, there's been a Thanksgiving calling us home and eliciting our fellow feeling, at least for a day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm Rich Lowry, over and out.